Welcome to part one of Competency 5 quiz. In this video, we will model, solve, and transform linear equations. Number one, which of the following represents the graph that is parallel to 4x plus 2y equals 10? Okay, we are looking for parallel. And if lines are parallel, they have the same slope but different b value. Okay. If they had the same slope and same b value, they would be the same line. Okay. So don't be sucked into that. Pay attention to the question, which means parallel, different b. Okay. So we need to solve for the slope-intercept or y-intercept form, okay? So 2y equals 10 minus 4x. Divide each term by 2, and we have y equals 5 minus 2x. Okay, well, that is a negative slope. So this automatically eliminates A and D. They have positive slopes. Now, we did say, let's look at our B values. That's our y-intercept. We do not want 5. We want a different intercept. Well, C has suspiciously the same intercept, where B has a different one. So I'm going to say B is okay. Now let's look at the slope. Does it have the same slope? We want a different B, same slope. Okay, I see minus a 4 and a 2 rise over the run. Remember that? Okay, so M equals minus 4 over the 2, which is, oops, I need that negative in there, which is a negative 2 slope. So that checks to be parallel. So I'm going to say B is our option. But we need to check C. Well, it might not even have the same slope. Let's see what we have here. We have a going down, right? Remember, rise over run. So this is negative 5. Okay. So let's see here. M equals negative 5 over. Well, I'm going to use 2.5 to kind of gauge this. If the slope is different, then we know that it's not parallel and it isn't the same. So either way, it doesn't satisfy. Okay. But let's just verify. Remember, different B value. Well, we have the same B value and we would need a different, same slope. I think this is the same line that we are given. Doesn't matter. Let's just check it out and see what happens. So let's estimate 2.5. Okay. So let's set up our fraction minus 5 over 2.5. Oh, that's negative 2. So it may be that C isn't what we want because that is the same line. Okay? All right, well, let's put that in our table and see what happens. We've already answered the question. At this point, we're just analyzing our findings. Okay, no, let's clear and clear. Okay, 5 minus 2. Okay, it's already entered. So now let's enter and start at 0. Let's see what we get. Okay, well, it doesn't give us this x equals 2.5. See that? So push clear and go to your steps and say 0.5 and enter. And enter again. And now we have a setup with x values that have halves. Okay, so we have a half, 1.5. We need to check 2.5. And there we go. It is verified. This is actually the given. So yeah, C, if you chose C, then you would have been trying to answer, oh, this is the graph of the given, but that's not what they asked. So they asked for parallel, which means B is verified as the correct answer. Okay, let's look at number 2. Okay. Which of the following is the equation of the line in the xy plane that passes through the points -7, -2, and -2, -7? Okay. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the calculator so that we can build our equation using our calculator. So we need to use our list 1 and our list 2. List 1, these are x values, and L2 or list 2 is our y's, okay? All right, then what do we enter? In our calculator, we need to enter the -7, -2, and -2, -7. Okay, let's go second mode and just simply push data. And I already have it entered. So double check. Okay. And if you want to do this for yourself on your calculator, pause the video. Okay. All right, looks like we are correct. So now we can go second mode and back out. So what do you need to push? You need the stat above the data. So say second data, that gives you the stat. Now we need two var. That means two variable. So we need to push enter. And see when I said here we need our x in the L1, that's what we have. Our x datas are in L1 because it's highlighted, and our y datas are in the L2. Okay, so let's keep pushing enter to calculate. Now, this where we have here for number 1, that says, hey, you have 2 entries. And that's true, we have 2 entries. We need to go all the way down, okay, and we're going to build, okay? Let me show you where we need to go. All the way down to A. See where it's highlighted? We need the next one, D. Okay, so what do we have going on? We have y equals, then we need a slope, and then x plus, and then we need a b. Okay? Well, in the calculator, the slope is called a, and b is still called b. Okay, now let's see here. See where it says a equals -1? That's what we need. We need -1 here, and then arrow down one more, and that gives us our b value at -9. Now, I'll clean it up. Y equals -x minus 9. Look at our options, and we can automatically get rid of C and D. We do not, or we are not using -5 at all, okay? Now that we have A and B narrowed down, let's look at each of these. I'm going to look at A first, and we put it in y-intercept form, and we should see what we need, okay? So A equals, okay, y equals -9 minus x. And that is what we have. So I'm saying option A. Now, if we look at B, this is what happens. I'm going to change colors and look at it more. We have -y equals -9 minus x. But when we divide by this negative understood 1, when each term is divided by that -1, we actually come out with all positive. Y equals 9 plus x. And that is not what we want. So we've disproven B. Okay, let's go to number 3. Number 3, write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line that passes through 3, -1, and is perpendicular to the slope of 1/2. Okay, if you remember from other videos, your notes, or you familiarize yourself with this, okay, if we want to be something to be perpendicular, we need to take the inverse reciprocal. So this means we need our slope to be -2. We turn it into a negative, and then we use the reciprocal, which means We take the half, flip it over, and we get 2 over 1. Well, we don't need the understood one. Okay, now we come over to our options and let's do some eliminating. Well, obviously C and D are not the correct slopes. So now we need to find out from A and B. Oh, wait a minute. I'm seeing B. I don't want A. Okay, how do I check that to make sure it's correct? Put it in the calculator. Okay, so go to table, clear out what we have, and I have negative 2x plus 5. Now I push enter, and I am checking to see if we have this point. Okay, so I need to start at 3, go up by steps of 1 because we have whole integers. And now let's just keep clicking, and it is verified. That's the very first row. Okay, let's look at number 4, and let's go up just a bit. Okay, all right. What is the x and y intercept of the equation 2x minus 3y plus 18 equals 0? Well, if we put that in y-intercept form, put it in the calculator, we'll have our answer. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to subtract negative or minus, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So over here, I want minus 2x. And not only am I doing that, I'm also subtracting 18 from both sides. Okay, I'm doing 2 steps at once. Okay, at this point, you should be comfortable enough that you can do that. Okay, so that means I have a 0 pair here and here. Now I clean it up and I have minus 3y equals negative 2x minus 18. Now I divide each term by the negative 3. So I come over here and clean it up again. Y equals 2 over 3x. And if you can't quickly see this last term, go second mode, set up your fraction, and I'm going to say negative 18. It's always best to do this during a test. And that's a 3, by the way. Poorly written 3, right? Okay, push enter, cleans it up as a plus 6. Okay, yes, that is a very poorly written negative 3. Let's see. Ah, that's a little better. Okay. Now, we need to put what we have created into the calculator under the table. So clear that out. And I see fraction 2 over 3, arrow over, x, and then plus 6, enter. Well, where do we need to begin? At 0, I would say. And I'm going to leave it in whole numbers right now, going up some steps of 1. Because most of my values are in integer form. Okay, so I'm going to keep clicking until I get my list. So I see 0, 6. Okay, well, these are okay. But now let's try 9 and negative 9. I'm going to arrow up to negative 9. Okay, oh, well, I have negative 9, 0. Ooh, that might actually work. Let's go to plus 9 and see what happens. Oh, no dice. So this one is gone. This one is gone. Well, I have this, and obviously this was incorrect, and it is option D. Okay. All right. And we could go and put things in 1/3 and see if that helps us, but I'm going to tell you it's not. Okay. Uh, we 0 our intercept is actually at 0, 6. We verified that, and we can go up and look at that again. Okay. All right. And you could plug in values and do this all by hand, but I don't recommend it. You're taking a test. Okay. All right. So let's look at number 5. Mia is selling 2 types of candy for a school fundraiser, Silly Slimes and Mega rocks. On the first day, she sold 2 silly slimes and 4 mega rocks for $10. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start writing. Okay, and I'm going to say S for silly slime and M for mega rocks. So I had 2 silly slimes plus 4 mega rocks for $10. Okay, I'm seeing a system being created here. Let's keep reading. On the second day, she sold 4 silly slimes and 2 mega rocks for $11. 4 silly slimes and 2 mega rocks for $11. Okay. Now, the question is find the price of each type of candy. Okay. Couple of ways that we could deal with this. We could use elimination, but if we use elimination, I see a lot of work in our future. My opinion is this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this first equation. So I'm going to put a line here. Okay, and this is my system. I'm going to take my first equation, solve it for S. Okay, and then I'll use that to substitute into the second equation. So let's do this. I see 2S equals 10 minus 4M. Divide each term by 2. This gives me S equals 5 minus 2M. Now, you may see why I did this. It's very clean. Okay, so that gives me one of my values of S. Anyway, a slope-intercept form, something to substitute. Now we can use the calculator. We will take this and put it in for S. So let's see here. I'm going to take all this and I will put it in for S. But what do we really need to put in the calculator? This is what we need. We need the 4S, okay, plus 2M minus 11 equals 0. So we're putting it into a form we need by subtracting 11 from both sides, like we did in prior videos. Now we have something. Remember, we're substituting here. Now we have something to put in the calculator. Okay, so second mode. All right, oh, we're going back to table, okay? Clear this all out, and I need 4 parentheses, 5 minus, oh, now take in mind that M has to be, I'm going to write it over here, note to self. M equals X, okay? And S is going to be my Y. I can choose it either way. This is the way I'm going to choose it to go on my calculator, okay? So that means I need to subtract 2x, close my parentheses. I'm still looking for y, which is my s, okay? So then I need to say, I've only done this first part here because I'm substituted. Now I need plus 2x minus the 11. Okay, now I push enter, starting at 0, enter, 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 enter. Okay, so that tells me that I have the intercept. However, I'm looking for the value of M or X. So I need a 0 over here. Here, let me put my pin here. My Y needs to be 0. Oh no, look here. It's in between my 1 and 2. So this is what I'm going to do. It's in between. So best guess is to go back and for steps, put in 0.5. Okay, now enter, enter, enter. And I got to keep going because remember, oh, there it is. I'm looking for the 0. So that means X or my M, my megarox, should equal $1.50. Okay, so that eliminates D and A. Okay, now I need to continue. What do? Here, and I'm trying to figure out a way to, well, I've already written it here. We're looking for Y. So the best way to get Y, remember Y equals S, is to substitute that M or X back in to this. Here, let me highlight. We need to use this intercept form we created. Okay. So let's put that in the calculator. Second mode. Okay. 5 minus 2. And we are substituting in the M. We go back here to our key, and that's 1.5 close, and then push equal. It's $2. And that gives us option C. And let's mark out B. Now, you might want to pause the video and actually use X and Y. Okay? And remember, silly slimes were our Y, and mega rocks were the X. Okay? If you do it in that fashion, you might see it a little clearer. Okay? Oh, let me put this in. This is $2. Okay? Oops. All right. Moving on to number 5.